6 straight losses, Dan. It might grow to 7. I'm Dionne Miller from ABC7, Dan Wiederer from the Chicago Tribune. Okay, so I don't know exactly where to begin, but I'd love to know the odds of a team losing a game the way that the Bears did, and how a team that has now lost 6 in a row actually does turn the page. Didn't it feel like a watershed moment? Like we all felt it a little bit, like it was like, and boom. That's how this week it's resonated with me all week, that it was like, how do you get over something like that?
There was certainly a level of shock, and driving home from Soldier Field last weekend, one of the things I kept thinking was they still got a quarter of the season left, right? It felt like there was so much finality attached to that loss, their 3rd straight division loss, their 6th straight loss in general. And you're thinking, boy, this thing is over, right? We just went from 5-1 to 5-7. This thing is over. And then you go, whoa, we've still got 4 games left. And so this is where the challenge at Halas Hall is going to be to get those guys back up, to get them back up on Sunday when they play another home game in an empty stadium against a feisty opponent that has a quarterback that they probably should have had. All of this stuff comes together. But to your previous point, the way that loss the win got away, I guess. The loss just came knocking on their doorstep last week was unfathomable for the defense to give up a 96-yard touchdown drive in closing time, right? This is what they've asked for forever. Give us a 10-point lead. Hey, offense, get us 30 points. The offense did its job. All you have to do is close that game out. Lions go down the field, never even face a 3rd down on that 96-yard touchdown drive, DM. That's how easy it was for them. They get within 3, and then obviously the Mitch Trubisky fumble happens, and I wrote about it coming out of that game. In an empty stadium, I swear that I heard that astonished gasp in Soldier Field that, it just, as soon as that ball was on the grass, you're thinking, no way. No way did that just happen.
Exactly. That has been like the microcosm of this Bears team and the way that it's unfolded and we talked a lot about this week. Like Matt Nagy was asked and Trubisky was asked, like, are you surprised when you think back to 2018 and we're like cruising through Club Dub every week, and now it's like you can't even get anything rolling in any direction that feels positive. Like it's just, it feels like that's what it was, right? It's like finally they show some sign of something positive, and then it just all crumbles in front of their faces. And that's why I think it felt so final. And yet here we are with a quarter of the season left to salvage what exactly? I don't know. If I believe jobs are on the line, don't you?
Oh, no question about it. There's no question about it. And again, it's not just the 6-game losing streak, it's the form that the 6 losses have taken. It's that the last 3 losses are all against NFC North opponents, 2 of them in prime time, and then 1 a absolutely dramatic collapse against the lowly Lions, who had just fired their head coach and general manager the previous weekend. And so it's the form that these losses come in that adds to that feeling, right? And it's the questions that George McCaskey is going to have to ask himself in moments of private, and then take those decisions public when we get to January 4th in terms of what is the direction of this franchise right now? How do I know that's the direction of the franchise? And then what do I do about it? And these are not easy questions, but certainly with where this season has gone, with where these last 2 years have gone, really, I mean, 2 back-to-back disappointing seasons, the way they've unfolded leaves you with no choice but to ask these very difficult questions.
What happened to the defense? What's going on? I mean, I know Khalil Mack is not 100%. I know that full well, but Robert Quinn has been a disappointment. I'm just disappointed that it hasn't built, right? Like they were so dominant, and maybe they are worn out, maybe mentally, physically, all of it. They are worn out having to carry so much of it, but it's stunning to me that the last 2 weeks have looked the way they have defensively.
They have given up, coming out of the bye week and 2 losses, they have given up more than 850 yards and 68 points. I mean, that's unfathomable for this defense that we've watched forever be reliable and be the unit that has held this team up. And then, Dionne, on top of that, to finally get the offense to show life, the offense scores 23 points in the first half, 30 points for the game, finally has the rhythm that we've been waiting all year to see. And you say, oh, this looks like a 21st century offense. And then the defense falls apart. And it's just kind of like, oh, no, not you guys too. Right. And so, yeah, I know you always ask for numbers, and I've got some numbers for you. As you know, I wrote them down on a piece of mail just to be very professional in this video. But all right, I'm going to give you a couple of these. They're no longer in the top 10 in yards allowed. Not elite anymore. No longer in the top 10 in points allowed. Not elite anymore. Here are their numbers from 2018, the last season under Vic Fangio, the NFC North Championship year. 50 sacks, 27 interceptions, 36 takeaways, 6 touchdowns. Here are the numbers in 2 seasons under Chuck Pagano. This is 28 games now, 55 sacks, 17 interceptions, 31 takeaways, 2 touchdowns.
Wow.
So in almost twice as many games, their production is barely matching, and in some cases not even matching the production that they had in 2018. And so you have to start asking questions at the top with the coordinator. Is he putting their playmakers in position enough to be at their best and make those game-changing plays on a regular basis? The fact, Dionne, that they don't have an interception from a defensive back since week 6 in Carolina is staggering, right? You've got Kyle Fuller back there. You've got Tayshaun Gibson back there. You've got Eddie Jackson back there. You've got Buster Screen. You know, this whole unit, Jalen Johnson, right? And you don't have an interception by anyone in your secondary since the middle of October. It's staggering. And so you don't know what to do. My question is there a level of fatigue to this? Is there a level of fatigue that traces back even to 2019, where this group that has for so long been asked to carry this team and hasn't had their production reciprocated by the offense suddenly just wore out, and they're out of gas, and they're out of momentum, and they're out of motivation, and they're just spent?
Well, I appreciate Chuck Pagano taking it all on him. And those numbers you just said did nothing to thwart my continued crush on a Vic Fangio run defense, because I certainly have always adored that man and the way he ran his unit. That's jobs on the line again. I mean, it's what we've talked about, right? I mean, it's not just the players at this point. It's what's happening behind the scenes and how are you prepping them? And oh, by the way, this week they face a quarterback that Pagano called top 2, 3 in the league. No one has ever even pretended that was true about Mitch Trubisky. So so there's, like you said, there's so much going into this game against the Texans that is beyond just what's been going on with the Bears. It's where is this franchise going, and where was it going when we made this decision? And it's so glaring in our faces yet again. It won't go away. And I know there are Bears fans who are like, okay, we're tired of hearing that. You guys, I've said it before. It's a fireable offense. You made the wrong choice.
You made the wrong choice, and your processes in getting to that choice were flawed. And they had a level of secrecy and disconnect and an over infatuation with the guy you ended up picking, Mitch Trubisky, that have put you in this position where now you are 5-7 after going 8-8, and you're basically letting the franchise quarterback who you drafted at number 2 overall have his rookie contract expire and go somewhere else in March. Meanwhile, Deshaun Watson comes to town with a $156 million contract extension that he signed in September, right? And the stress for this defense this weekend, Dionne, you can prep for Deshaun Watson all you want. It's the stuff that happens after the play breaks down that wears you out, right? You can have the perfect play call on, the perfect pass rush, the perfect coverage, and then he slips out of a sack, gets outside the pocket, either takes off for 12 yards or buys time and hits a 26-yard shot down the middle. And for a defense, it's just like you have to be prepared for 4 quarters for that to happen every single series that you're on the field. And there's a level of exhaustion there. If they're already exhausted, they have no chance on Sunday. Now, I still have enough experience with this defense to feel like they have it within them to snap back and to bounce back. And that's what I'm betting on this weekend. But I'm not doing it with any confidence. I'm certainly not doing it with the confidence that I previously had in this unit. And so we'll see where they go. But to your point, this idea that that's 4 years ago, the 2017 draft, just get over it. I mean, stop yourself. It's exactly why you're in the position you're in. And pretty soon you're going to have to go out and pick another quarterback, and you're going to have to figure out who's making that selection and what methodology they're using to get there.
When the 2 quarterbacks you ignored are making more money than anyone else in the league, you have to continue to talk about it, and deservedly so, right? I mean, they've earned that money. I did appreciate Mitch's transparency a little bit this week when he's like, look, I'm still trying to write my story. It's true. It's unfair pressure that he's under to always be compared with them, but I feel like he is handling it okay. Like he said, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But like, for him to say, I understand it's always going to be a story. I get it. It's Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf, right? Like, it's always going to be a story. And I don't know. I feel like he's matured in that in some capacity.
No, so, I agree with you.
Win? I don't know. Is that a win? I don't know.
I mean, maybe. I mean, it's a win for Mitch individually, and I've said it a number of times, and I'll shout it from the rooftops for whoever wants to listen. As a professional and as a mature human being, Mitch Trubisky gets an A+. I have no problems with the way he's handled himself over his 4 seasons as a Bears quarterback. He has been a guy who's handled struggle. He's struggled some with handling struggle, but not in an outward way, not in a way that affects other people. Maybe in fact affects him internally. But yeah, when you waltz into a matchup like this Sundays, you understand where the spotlight is. You understand what the outside conversation is, and you have to do your best to block that out. He seems to be doing a good job of that. I will say there were some encouraging signs from the Bears offense against the Lions last week. They've put together this offensive line with a new combination, and it seems to be working over the last two games. Again, they got to 23 points before halftime. I think they had over 250 yards in the first half of that game. And you say, wow, this is coming along. But ultimately, what does it mean? None of us are going to sit here and believe that Mitch Trubisky is going to be wearing a Bears practice penny when they go out to OTAs in the spring, right? And so all of this growth that he shows down the stretch of the season is good for him individually, but it means nothing to the city of Chicago.
Is that what that's called? A penny? I didn't know that.
Maybe. I don't know.
I appreciated it. Okay, but I don't have, you were talking about you have confidence that the defense could bounce back. I don't believe the offense we saw last week can be that successful consistently. I just don't. And I don't care who the quarterback is. I don't think that they can yet. And again, that goes back to Nagy and to Laser and to the, you know what I mean? I just don't know that they know their guys well enough. Again, the full fan, like, why are we not running the ball? You're winning. Like, what?
Yeah, right. Well, and you say consistently, just as a little asterisk to that, the Texans aren't very good defensively. They don't stop the run at all. They have 3 interceptions in 12 games this season. So you're going to have chances to just take shots without fear of repercussion, right? And throw the ball down the field. It's not getting picked off. If your guy catches it, great. If it doesn't, let's play the next down. But to the point about consistently doing it, they haven't shown any identity consistently. And what we've seen these last 2 weeks has been encouraging, but it has also raised the question on why didn't you have these offensive linemen starting for you to begin with? Why did you waste so much time on converted defensive lineman Rashad Coward when it becomes clear that Alex Bars is playing okay, that Sam Mustipher is playing okay? Why did it take you so long to find this combination? Why has it taken you so long to involve Cole Kmet? Why has it taken you so long to get David Montgomery going? Even their success comes with a what the heck attached to it, right?
Right. And again, I go back to they don't know their personnel that well. Like they either don't know their personnel or they are just so, as we've talked about so many times, hell bent to do it the way they're going to do it. And talent and personnel be damned. We're just this is what we're doing and get on board I don't understand. That's a head scratcher every single time. I don't understand it. Now, I'm not a professional play caller here. I'm not going to act like I always know what the right thing is to do here, but at the same time, like some things seem pretty obvious and I don't understand why it's not going that way.
Me neither.
It's no either. And therein lies the problem. So you think they snapped the skid this week? I don't. I'm answering for myself.
No, go for it. What's your score? You got a score for me?
I don't. I feel like last week is going to linger. I just do. I don't.
It's fair.
So many times about Mitch's psyche and I just think it's going to linger. And so I feel like we're going to be back to 17 points for the offense and Deshaun Watson at least 24. I don't know.
It's a fair assessment. I have picked the Bears to win on ChicagoTribune.com, 26-23 in overtime. Once again, of all the predictions I've made through the first 3 months of the season, this is the least confident I've ever been in any of my predictions, right? So just take that with a grain of salt. I don't know. There's something about this Texans team that matchup-wise isn't intimidating at all. Deshaun Watson, very intimidating, but he may be missing his top running back, David Johnson. They don't have a receiving core that's intact. Will Fuller's been suspended for 6 games for a PED violation. Defensively, they're not imposing. And so if the Bears can just kind of finally play that complete game in all 3 phases, they should be able to win. Again, no confidence in it, but it's just I had to make a pick. I had to put it in writing for the Chicago Tribune website. That's what I went with. And I don't know. I mean, again, we've talked about it before. We could also be staring at a situation Sunday afternoon where Deshaun Watson's counting 12 like Patrick Mahomes did last December, right? And it's just, a new level of misery to a wretched season. There's 4 weeks left and 4 more chapters for this story to go whatever direction it wants to go. And I don't know. I don't know where the Bears are at mentally. We've talked about this all season. We're not there at House Hall to get that weekly temperature on, usually you can sense in a week like this, have they bounced back or, are some guys on the golf course? Are they already planning their January vacation? Are they checked out? I can't say.
I know. Well, I honestly think that, I know they've never made changes in the middle of the season, but I honestly think they won't because, I mean, somebody up there is saying mathematically still alive, right? Like,
Right. No, I mean,
somebody's. I mean, that's real. I know it's real, but it just sounds such a joke based on the last 6 weeks.
no question. You and I know better, but internally you can convince yourself of that, right? You can say, hey, if we get this game, we still got the Jaguars on the schedule. That should be a freebie win after Christmas. And then those 2 division games, if we can bounce back and get some revenge on the Vikings and Packers, you can play that game in your mind, and they should be playing that game. That's what you should be doing if you're within the organization. The bottom line is, though, you have to look at this realistically. You have to see the way the season has gone from start to finish. And again, it's going to create very difficult questions. I have no issue with them waiting till the end of the season to evaluate this. You do not get behind in the hiring process. Anyone who's interested in the Chicago Bears job as a general manager or head coach understands that those positions may come available, right? So it's not like this is going to be a shock to the rest of the league if they make those changes on January 4th. And so people on the outside shouldn't worry that they're getting behind with all these other teams firing coaches and general managers during the season. We'll see where it goes, Dionne. I just have no idea, but I will say that the thought depresses me. And I can tell you, I've thought about it this week because it seems to be the direction it's heading. And you're just thinking, man, from a reporter standpoint, are we really going to have to start over getting to know another general manager, another head coach, and starting from the ground? And what depresses me is you can't even take the bait from within House Hall that the next person is the answer, right? Yep. Because the last 20 haven't been the answer. And so then all the stories that you want to write and tell and broadcast about the new head coach and new general manager have to come with this sort of, fine print. Oh, by the way, the Bears haven't been successful in 30 years. And so here we are.
No, they're going to ruin Christmas. You know this.
Christmas can't be ruined, Dionne.
Sometimes it can.
Is that all we got? I mean, we're going to go.
I'm done. I have no more words.
All right. Well, enjoy your weekend. It should be an entertaining game. I've got free football for you, overtime football on Sunday. So let's see if it goes that direction.
Right. I hope you're right. There's a wish for the elf or somebody.
The elf on the shelf will bring you what you need.